Hey guys, how's it going? I'm EG Magnum, and this is my Sorc build that I'm going to be trying to make work in Diablo 4. Now, I got to test most of it in the first beta pretty well. Sadly, in the second beta, didn't really get to add anything, but I got to test what my backup build would be, or maybe my second Sorc build, which would be Flame Wall, because the other build didn't really work, and I was just trying to see how bad things were. Flame Wall, though, now that we know what these are, has a really cool legendary appear where burning damage is increased by 40% of your critical strike, and this is further increased for every 20 intelligence you have, and you can get a lot of intelligence. Just over there, I see 572, and that wouldn't be including what I can get from year. That's insane increased damage. If we can get some mores with that and things that stack multiplicatively, that is actually absurd damage. And Firewall might be actually insane. Yeah. Now that I look at this, I kind of want to go Firewall. But this is the build I want to get working. I've been hyped to try this and see if I can get it to work. And this is what I'm going to go with. So this is my unstable currents build for Sorc. Now, the main idea is to get unstable currents 100% uptime. So how do we do this? We're already down here. Go ahead and look at this. This is the key passive that we didn't get to try out, is when you have unstable currents, you don't run out of your zaps from your crackling energy. This gives cooldown to all shock skills. This also gives cooldown to your teleport, which will come into play in a second, on also helping the cooldown a little bit, hopefully. If that part of the build doesn't work, then we'll just change it and we'll do something else. There's quite a few options we can do, but again, the main idea is to get unstable currents up 100% of the time. And unstable currents, real quick, the way it works is every time you attack, so you can just use your basic attack, and it's going to be either Spark or Arc Lash. Every time it's a shock skill, I should say. Then you get a cast of a random core conjuration mastery skill that is also a shock skill. So mainly the offensive ball lightning, lightning spear, charge bolts, and chain lightning. And with the attack speed, I can just use something that just doesn't spend mana and do Arc Lash or Spark, and that's kind of the idea here. Now, the other ways to get cooldown for unstable currents is going to be cooldown reduction, and then as far as on the tree here, Ice Blade. I'm going to try to make the Ice Blades thing work. As far as getting cooldowns going, it helps with all my defensive skills, and in turn my offensive skill. So even if this isn't doing that much of a cooldown, if it's helping the cooldown reduction by a significant margin, and that's to be seen, if it's still helping enough, we'll keep it. If not, I'm going to ditch this, but the idea would be I'm spamming teleport, and then I either have flame shield or ice armor on cooldown up every time, so I'd be alternating between both of these. And that means I'm invulnerable for 2 seconds, and then I have a 6-second barrier, and as long as I can get this down to essentially an 8-second cooldown, then I pretty much have permanent uptime of both of my barriers, which will come into the aspects here in a second. So that's the main defense layer there, and with Ice Blades, hopefully that works. Now, the main thing is that Ice Blades would be the only way these cooldowns get any better, because this only helps out lightning skills. The other option for helping out cooldowns would be this. Hitting a stunned enemy with Arc Lash reduces your cooldowns by 0.25 seconds. Now, the cool part about this is you do swipes in front of you, and it stuns all enemies on every 10th swipe for 2 seconds. So with 2 seconds and enough attack speed, assuming we can get about 2 attacks per second. Maybe max being 3, I don't know, but I definitely looks like we can get about 2 with the attack speed on the boards and the attack speed from items, as well as, assuming this is 100%, there's another 25% there. So we can definitely get this attack speed multiplier 1.25, and based on our weapon, we're definitely getting 2, maybe 3, is what I'm assuming that is going to be. If we can, then, essentially we're getting, in that 2 seconds, about 2 seconds of cooldown off on everything, which would be pretty nice. If we can get that more, 10 out of 10. If not, oh well. The next thing would be is, can we get enough attacks that we're stunning multiple times? Now, things do become unstoppable, and I don't know if we're going to actually be able to get more cooldown reduction off of unstoppable things, and that's going to be the interesting thing. Do they still maintain the crowd control, like, status effect that we can actually, then keep building up cooldown and stuff off of them? If that's the case, awesome. Then that's a 10 out of 10 for our build. We get to just keep getting cooldown reduction. If not, that's going to put a little damper on that, and that's why I'm kind of trying to plan in Ice Blades to help everything out. Now, this is a melee skill, essentially. So, kind of yikes there. If this feels not as tanky as I hope it's going to be, then we're going to swap to Spark, and we're going to go with just Crackling Energy to mainly be the main thing that keeps our unstable energy going. So, unstable currents. But yeah, that's going to be the main thing that keeps that going. So let's go through the rest of the tree here and kind of talk about it. But that's the main thing with the basic skill. Charge bolts. Why do I have points here? Well, the thing is, I'm assuming since those are cast, and this says, some of these actually have wording on it that says cast, like this, then maybe these will actually gain these effects. So I'm going down these, and I've been, picking these. This could be cool if that stun effect does still apply to unstoppable enemies. Then that's going to be our single target, and that is our well, that's also our tank a little bit. So I'm kind of hoping, single target tank, if we need it, cool. If we don't need the tank, then boom, we get a ton of damage for single target. Let's go. Crit chance for spawning Crackling Energy. If this is 100% uptime, then, and with this, then I don't really need this generating it, so then I'll probably go with this one. But that's the idea there. If this doesn't feel like it's doing enough, then literally I'm probably going to either take both of these out or something. I don't know. We'll see. I might keep that one because of one of the aspects over here. But yeah, other than that, moving on though. I already talked about these. Pretty straightforward here though. Damage reduction for teleport. If the Crackling Energy looks like it's working really well, then there you go. I'll go ahead and do that. And then movement and healing, vulnerability. If this feels like it's giving me a lot more shield, then awesome. If not, there's 2 points for free that I can get elsewhere and put somewhere. Glass cannon, I'm assuming I'm going to be tanky enough to deal with this, so 3 points. Elemental attunement, 1 point there. It would be really nice to have those instantly come back once in a while. Let's see. Then, sadly, that is the one I don't want it to happen to, because since it can only happen once every 10 seconds, it's the one that's pretty much going to be less than a 10-second cooldown all the time. But oh well, it happens. Align the elements. So the main thing is, I want this to be 2. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with 2 on this one, just because 40. I don't think up to 40. Wait. No. Oh, okay. Well, so the thing is, that's a long time. That's 40 seconds. This is 20 seconds. Obviously, 3 is a little much. I'm going to do 2. Because this is another reduction layer. And I think if I can consistently, not get hit for 5 seconds, especially If I'm doing the melee stuff, I'm doing 2. If I'm doing range, then I might do 1. World bosses, definitely 1, but you know, I'm not going to just respec that point every time I'm swapping between clearing and stuff. But clearing, 2 sounds good. Honestly, 3 probably doesn't sound too bad either. But yeah. And then using a cooldown, which I'm going to be using a lot of cooldowns here, will grant 10% of my maximum life as a barrier for 2 seconds. If I have an extra point, maybe I might do that for 20%, but that's kind of nice. Then this, of course, for the cooldown, already went over that. That's one of our cooldown sources. Ball lightning. Lucky hit, I guess I'll go over the enchantment here. You can generate a static ball lightning, but it spawns a static ball lightning. So does that mean that after hitting close enemies 50 times with ball lightning, your next cast of it stuns enemies for 1 second? If the spawn counts as a cast, then that is awesome. That helps our stunning out, and that's even more damage. Now, this is probably going to be my swap for a single target, as I haven't seen anything else that really stands out as a really good enchantment for single target. So yeah. Then I got a crackling energy lucky hit. I don't know if I'm going to keep that or not, but I figured I'd do that. And then every time you stun an enemy, you deal 50% lightning damage to them. So, kind of cool. But yeah, I've got points there now because that's just kind of makes sense. If it doesn't feel like it's working or I don't need it, I'll definitely be changing that. And the other things that I could spec into is, let's just go ahead and spec out of 3 points here. And we could go this way and either use that for the crit for the stun, or that for an extra little bit of damage for these when they get cast in between. Like I pick up an orb, I pick up one of these, and then this causes it to cast. Cool, that's extra damage. Why not? So that's the other thing I could do with that. Something around that. But for now, I'm just going to have this right here. And yeah, see what happens. This also, a 9% chance to stun enemies for 3 seconds. That's kind of nice. Again, with the stun, gets a lot of cooldown. Maybe take out something here. 6% movement speed, sure, and put 1 in there just so there's a 3. I definitely want this. 15% less damage for 5 seconds after being critically struck. That's amazing. And hit enemies with shock skills for critical strike. That's really nice as well. So we're definitely going for the crits here, and we're going for as much cooldown to hopefully have this up 100% of the time. What aspects am I going for? Well, there's a couple that are definitely needed. Actually, let's go over the enchantments first. Enchantments, Ice Blades right now is going to be the main one. If it works, then awesome. Let's see. Oh, that's kind of cool. Evade is replaced with a short-range teleport. Interesting. Sorry, I just now noticed the teleport one. But yeah, overall, if there's anything else that looks a little bit more interesting, I might do that. Otherwise, we're just going to keep it to Ice Blades. And if Ice Blades doesn't work, then we'll swap it to something else. Right now, looking Fireball for the clear might be really nice. And then we have the what is it? The Ball Lightning that I mentioned. So Ball Lightning is definitely going to be a main one there. Because it, you know, the 25% chance to do a static Ball Lightning, big hits, good single target. Fireball for clear, and what else? There was another one here. I was thinking maybe Lightning Spear, but I mean, I'd really have to be like spawning crackling energy. Frost Nova, maybe? Something like that. Anyway, there's definitely some options here for sure. Charge Bolts looks kind of cool. Chain Lightning requires mana, so definitely not doing that one. And then Arc Lash, when you use a cooldown, enemies are around you are stunned. Okay, that could work with some stun duration. That could be a thing. But for now, I'm doing Ice Blaze and Fireball for the clear, and then swapping to probably Ball Lightning for the single target. So that's the ideas there. So that's going to be the main ones for now. Again, if the Ice Blades thing doesn't seem to be working, I'll swap that to something else, and I'll figure that out when the time comes. For now, though, the main things you need is attack speed. Now, I'm assuming that since you'll be unstable currents for these, that eventually they'll crit, and you'll get another 25 up to 25% attack speed. So that should be 55% attack speed from your aspects. Here's a more damage, again, depending on how that works with stun being applied. Even though they're not stunned, if it applies the effect and they can just keep the effect on them, then that would be really nice. I'm hoping that's the way it works. If it is, then cool. If it's not, then that's pretty rip. But in that case, this is 30 to 40% more damage, which is insane. You have 10% increase critical strike chance against injured enemies. Don't really care about that one too much. Maybe on a boss when it gets low in your kind of burn phase kind of thing. That's really nice. But early on, yeah, in white mobs, probably not really doing anything. While you are healthy, you gain 20 to 40% increased crowd control duration. That's going to be the big thing there. Now, a lot of these you don't have to have. The ones I would say you have to have are attack speed things and probably more defensive things than anything. The next one that I saw that looks really good is we're not using mana, 20% increased damage. Crowd control duration, 20% increased, and while they're unstoppable, which hopefully again they still get the status applied to them, not the actual effect, but the status applied to them. But if they are just unstoppable, you can get 50% increased damage, which is also a really nice damage increase either way. So if the stun part doesn't work, then you're just getting more damage, which I'll take it. Or I should say increased, I guess. You gain armor. So this was hopefully a really good one. I don't know. We'll see. But if we can get 50% increased armor, nice. That's helps us reduce damage. Your lucky hit chance is increased by 20% while you have a barrier. Again, if our cooldowns are working right, we always have a barrier. That's going to be the idea with that. And then anything crowd controlled, which hopefully they are, and they should be permanent vulnerable, 25% less damage. That would be really nice. Basic skills grant 20% damage reduction for 2 to 6 seconds. And there's that to help with some more tankiness, especially with the Arc Lash version being melee. Now, assuming we can tank everything, this is awesome. Again, Spark is going to be our fallback plan if this doesn't seem tanky enough. Now, as there, I really didn't know there was the unique item thing happening, and apparently there's uniques that have their own set abilities that you can get. And yeah, depending on what those are, will definitely kind of alter and change things. But for now, this is the info we got, and this is what I'm building around. Mainly, I designed this build, and I already started recording once explaining the tree, but the build was designed without any items or aspects really in mind, other than I knew that I just needed to scale attack speed. And with that said, I didn't even really look at this till I started recording, and then yeah, definitely, this is not the first take because I decided to go through and just finish this. So here we go. What am I doing with this? So I want attack speed. So main things, I did not take the attack speed here. That is hilarious. Hey, we're at 122. I don't know what the renown means, okay? So we could easily, I threw this on here. I don't know if this is going to actually work. We could easily just take this completely off. Like, this is just kind of to help, you know, when, if there is some downtime or whatever, then yeah, I don't know. But that's what that is there for. This really isn't that great. So yeah. But crackling energy does increase damage. I don't want to make this a crackling energy build. I just wanted to use it for cooldown. So there's that. Overall, though, these look kind of interesting. So I don't know what the Renown 22 is, but hopefully that's not that crazy because I forgot to actually take the attack speed. That's the whole point of taking this one first, was I saw the attack speed here and I was like, oh, let's go, dude. So, whoops. But we want as much attack speed as we can possibly get. So there we go. So I went up this way, went into here, willpower, purchased within range, you deal 14% increased damage while healthy. Assuming we're going to have our tank stuff up, we're going to be healthy, so this one's nice. And in that case, we get some willpower. We could go up here and get more. That's another 15 willpower that way. That wouldn't be too bad. But I couldn't figure out a good way to connect this. I mean, luckily, you can rotate these. So that's pretty nice. I don't know if this is going to break any of the points I have. But yeah, you can rotate these, which will be nice. So I'll definitely try to figure out if there's a better way to point this. But this is what I came up with right now. Then I go this way until, oops, I guess I click there. Intelligence and stuff, going this way, grabbing as much intelligence for pathing as possible. And then we go over here to this one. Now, I went ahead and took Frigid Fate just because I'm using the Cold Blades, dealing cold damage to vulnerable enemies. Increases your lucky hit chance by 1% for 5 seconds, up to 15. So if the Blades thing is working, then we get this, and this is nice. If it doesn't, then we'll definitely not spec there. But the main thing is going here, bonuses to all rare nodes in range, which the main ones here being the vulnerable damage and the intelligence, which is really nice, and then the cold res, which is also really nice too. And then you get another 35 if requirements are met, so that's pretty nice and easy there. And you, again, the increase bonuses from that, huge, and you deal 10% increased damage for 4 seconds after casting a defensive skill, and we should be casting them very, very commonly. Other than that, though, kept moving up. Damage reduction from vulnerable enemies there. More damage reduction from vulnerable enemies. Now, the main thing about damage reduction is it all is multiplicative. So that 2% is... probably all of these that say reduction from vulnerable enemies, this is probably 8%, 9, 10, 11, 12. But then that's, you know, out of 1,000, that's just 120. And then you've got to get... then whatever's left is the next reduction, is what the next reduction hits. So diminishing returns definitely adds up pretty quick. Then we have, moving into the next tree here, I'm curious if your enchantments are 20% stronger actually works. I spec to it because I had the extra points and I didn't know what else to go with. So there we go. If it works, then the lightning will spawn faster. The fireball will do more damage, whereas fireball hopefully will do 60%, I think. 60% of its damage instead of just 50%. And does this mean that every 32 seconds you get a blade? Is that how that works? If that's how that works, then that is awesome. That brings us closer to what I'm kind of looking for. If that is how that works, amazing. Because that means any cooldown reduction with this node isn't really hurting it anymore. It kind of just brings it in line with the cooldown reduction that I would want to be getting on most skills. So yeah, that's gonna be the reason why I'm doing that. Other than that, just path through the resistance, the damage over time reduction, stuff like that. Got the, oh yeah, I guess, did I show this one? The nodes themselves for the non-physical damage and damage reduction here. So this has a lot of non-physical damage. So there we go. Figured that would be a pretty good one there. Moving on though to the next board, the fire one. The main reason for the fire one is it's got some decent attack speed right here. So I wanted the attack speed. So there it is. And that's the main thing there. other than that, kind of pathing through. If there's a way to ignite enemies, which I was kind of looking at a way to ignite enemies, then maybe I could take advantage of a lot of this damage reduction. If I need tankier, then maybe we can try to figure out a way to do that. I think there's a good one with the... Yeah, this. So literally anything I hit with should ignite. And at that point, I can do that over the fireball. So instead of it being a single target, it's a tanky skill. So clear, and then if I need it, I can do the tanky skill version with firebolt. And with burning, that actually opens up some other stuff, which I think... I don't know, with the burning stuff, I mean, we could look into this, but it could open up some stuff here, right? Is it this? Where did I see this? Mobilize enemy. No, that's not it. Is that it? Ah, here we go. Warmth. There we go. There's the regen one. So with nearby burning enemies, health increasing to 0.6% for bosses. So that's a huge amount of tank there. I would definitely spec into that. Could have swore this actually said... Wait. Critical strike damage against burning enemies. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I would take this one for the offense. I don't know about this one. Maybe. But yeah. So there's some other stuff that I could do for damage. Especially I'm doing a crit build. That wouldn't be too bad. So yeah, I guess I could do that. If I did that, then I would definitely take more points in this. I guess. And I could go like right here, get burning damage to enemies. I want to do the elites. I don't know what that 20... I mean, I still might just do this just for the damage to the elites because I don't really have anything else I could do this to. And then I just tacked this on. I came over here and got all this armor. I kind of pathed around that and got all the armor, and then I didn't know what else to do, so I just threw this on. I don't know, more intelligence stuff. Yeah, we can definitely play around with it, see what else there is. You know, make sure I take the attack speed first, which was the whole reason for that. But yeah. There's definitely some really cool stuff here, but that's the build idea. That's what I'm going with. That's what will be posted in the description below. But anyway, guys, let me know in the comments what do you think about this build. Do you got any ideas for it? What build are you doing for Sorc? What build are you doing for any other class? And if this gave you some ideas, awesome. And then if the firewall build, if I get time to actually point that out, then I will. But I think that's pretty straightforward. Should be pretty easy to do. But anyway, guys, I guess usual stuff in the description: Twitch, Twitter, Discord, TikTok, Instagram. But that'll be it for this one, guys. See you in D4 in some amount of hours. I'm gonna go hopefully upload this, not completely fall asleep, but take a nap because the sun is coming up and I need to fall back asleep. But anyway, have a good one. Thanks for watching. Peace!